Hang on. I don't know what's going on here. Sorry. Instagram's doing some nonsense. Hi everyone, Empress Justice here, aka Fabian Deacon, just giving you a daily update on TI stuff. If you'd like to check out my daily readings, you can check out Real Justice Tarot on Instagram, Instagram and Twitter. Also, if you'd like to check out my latest lunar readings, you can check them out on YouTube. I will leave the links in the description when I upload to YouTube as well. And you can also check out the lunar lives on my Instagram channel, even though I do a lot of daily readings, so you might have a job finding them. Okay, so yesterday was heavy, but the good part about it is that some other TIs have stepped forward and they've asked me to share some of their experiences on their behalf. There's this one woman from Exeter that I've been telling you about in quite a few of my videos. She finally decided to kind of let me upload one, share one of her photos online. And I made sure to cover her identity because she didn't want her identity to be known yet. But if you can see from the photos, she's got injuries quite similar to mine. If you look, like, the skin burns and everything on her face right here, they're quite similar to mine. Only in her case, because she's white, directed energy weaponry has a specific effect on white skin. With somebody like me who's black, we're least like, I don't know if it's the right thing to say that I'm least likely to get burned, but when I do get burned, it doesn't show up in quite the same way as it does on white skin. Now, if you look at my skin right here, the skin on my hands right here, the person from Exeter gets burns like that every single day. She gets burns like that every single day. She can't go home. She can't stay in her own home because every time she is in her own home, she gets burnt to shit every single time by these electronic weaponry, which, by the way, can literally be used by anybody simply by using an app. So you could literally walk down the street and see gang stalkers using an app to burn your skin or assault you, sexually assault you through this weaponry, depending on where the weaponry is actually being fired on you. So through an app on your phone, you can actually subject somebody to directed energy weaponry. And that's one of the things that Niels Meltzer was talking about in his cyber torture seminar. He was talking about cyber harassment being used as psychological warfare, but he was also talking about weapons like these being used via apps in order to unlawfully experiment on citizens. But in the case of this woman from Exeter, she lives near 10 military bases. So you can imagine the amount of hell that this person goes through every single time they want to stay in their own house. They can't stay in their own flat because they're just completely bombarded with electronic weaponry every single time they're in their own home. And God knows what these fucking perps are doing while she's not in her own home. And this is exactly what I'm saying. Why do they need to bombard her that fucking much? Just doesn't make any sense. She doesn't do anything to rile anybody. And yet every single time she's in her home, she is constantly bombarded. When she goes to sleep, when she wakes up, wherever she's staying, when she sleeps there and wakes up, wherever she has slept is literally covered in skin that's been shed from the night before. That's how badly she's being attacked constantly. So yeah, she's got injuries very similar to mine, but unlike mine, hers, when it comes to the attacks on her skin, it's absolutely horrific. On that photo that I showed you in that photo that I showed you yesterday, her injuries look a lot better than they actually are. She goes through a lot. She goes through a lot. And I can tell you that right now. Me and her have spoken, and she's just going through the absolute most right now. So, yeah. So that was one TI. But yeah, her experiences are quite similar to mine. There's another woman from Exeter that got in touch with me, but she was an elderly woman, and she'd have been hit with vomit beams the same way that I have, dizziness, nausea, all that type of stuff. She'd also been debilitated in the same way that I was last year. She's also been debilitated, but unlike me, I'm 36 and I'm relatively young. This woman who has been repeatedly hit with vomit beams and repeatedly debilitated to the point where she couldn't walk and she had to crawl everywhere, the same way I did. This is a 79-year-old woman. So what do you think the recovery time is on somebody who's that elderly? But she's another one who gets bombarded. So, it's bad, man. It's bad. Like, this is exactly what I'm talking about when it's just like, oh my God. When I tell you, as much shit as I've gone through, it is a picnic compared to what some of these other women go through. It's a picnic. I can tell you that right now for nothing. It's a travesty. It's an absolute travesty. I looked up John Harris online, and yeah, I got his name right. I looked up John Harris online, and hold on, let me just see his videos. It's an Illusion by John Harris. That video was on YouTube, and in it he talks about the UK as a corporation. Now, I think the previous name of the UK as a corporation was the United Kingdom Corporation Limited, right? That's since dissolved. And I think it dissolved so that the United Kingdom could keep, you know what I mean? Like, they dissolved so that they can keep the name, and then, but they don't let anybody know what's going on. Like, that type of stuff. So United Kingdom Corporation Limited. Let's have a look now. United Kingdom Corporation Limited. I think they're dissolved. Yeah, they're dissolved. I'll show you now. Hang on. All right. So, United Kingdom Corporation Limited. They've dissolved. They were incorporated in June 2006, and they have since dissolved. So let's look up United Kingdom Limited. They used to be a public limited company, but now they're just limited. So United Kingdom Limited. This is the UK now, right? This is the UK now as a company. And they're a non-trading company. So filing history. And then you've got accounts for, let's view their accounts. Okay, so these are the accounts for May 2021. Dormant accounts. So the UK, that's this country as a corporation. The UK apparently has a net asset of £2 and total shareholder funds of £2. So all of us as well, whoever owns the UK as a whole, that's how much they have in the bank right now officially. So it really begs the question, where is the money going? Let's look up people. Access Nominees Limited. Director is Graham Michael Cohen. Let's see. Riviera Properties. What is going on here? Okay, so resigned. He resigned from a lot of God. Damn, man. I think it says director, but I don't think he actually owns the UK. A director is different from the owner. There are several directors here. One of them is Access Nominees Limited. And they're in Elstree, Bournemouth. Sport Group Worldwide, everything but that. Like what is going on here? So I have to wonder, right? If the UK is a corporation and they've only got £2 worth of net assets, like this whole country here has got £2 worth of net assets, right? And then the directors of those companies have like several private interests. And then you have to think about the government budget. Where is all that money going? Because I know that as a limited company, you've got to be making profits, right? So where's the money going? But then you're non-trading, so I'm gonna have to look all this up because I'm kind of confused about what's going on here. But yeah, the UK is definitely a company. It's definitely a business. It's just that according to official records, they're not trading. So every single person on this, if you're registered with a bank account, you're technically the property of the United Kingdom. Your parents signed over their rights to your rights to the United Kingdom as soon as they registered you with a birth certificate. And right now we're in the middle of the fucking purge because we've got COVID, we've got the economic downturns, which is definitely going to turn into a depression at some point. And then we've got the war in the Ukraine, which is about to turn into World War III. It's like I said before, I've been saying it for years. If us, the citizens of each country, are supposed to be an asset to that country, and those assets are not bringing in returns, then what have they got to do? They got to liquidate, innit? They got to liquidate. So, I mean, yeah. When in doubt, follow the pound. So that's kind of, you tie in the human trafficking element of the gang stalking and the electronic weaponry, and then you tie in whatever's been successful being used on the masses, and then you tie in like everything that's going on with Vanguard and BlackRock. You tie everything in. It's like, I think, I'm about to say something chilling right now. I think that in spite of the directors that you saw, how much do you want to bet that directly or indirectly, that Vanguard and BlackRock actually own the United Kingdom? And all this competition that's going on is basically just pantomime. But again, that's just conjecture. Like, I don't know for sure. I'd have to do more research on this. And now they want to introduce like digital currency. They want to replace fiat money, which was worthless in the first place, with digital currency, which is even more worthless. And because that digital currency is not going to be measured against gold. It's not going to be commodity backed. these are interesting times for sure. So moving on a personal level, lots of crying fits. But the irony is that I've been trying not to cry. I've been trying not to let this torture affect me. And yet after I've been crying and stuff like that, my short-term memory is improved. My short-term memory is improved. My mood is improved. My sleep has improved. Everything is improved. Every time I kind of let myself cry and let myself, express my emotions and express my vulnerability, as much as I try not to be vulnerable, every single time I express my vulnerability, it clears the cobwebs. So my short-term memory is improving. Seriously, just by crying and letting shit out. My short-term memory is improving. My energy levels have improved. My depression has gone down. My anxiety has gone down. Like everything's gone down. Like since I've been allowed to cry, everything's gone down. It's helped me to think clearer. A lot of people will say, because when we're being tortured like this, and we can see that our torturers are getting such glee from our pain and from our tears and from our anger, there's the temptation not to let them win by never letting them see us sweat. But it actually doesn't do us any good, because we're holding, like our bodies need to purge. Our bodies need to purge ourselves of the trauma that we've suffered. It constantly needs to purge, and allowing ourselves to be vulnerable and cry and feel things is a way that we allow our body to purge itself, so that we can actually have the energy to do what we need to do, so that our reflexes are sharper, so that our memories are sharper. So being vulnerable, when it comes to being a TI, allowing ourselves to be vulnerable is actually not only very healthy, but extremely helpful. So yeah, I've been experiencing like a pretty dramatic upswing ever since. Like if I start crying uncontrollably, then that's when that's a transitional period between me being severely depressed and me getting 100 times better, in my case anyway. But yeah, it's bigger than me. This whole thing is bigger than me. It's bigger than my feelings. It's bigger than, we live in a world of trade. And unfortunately, there's nothing that can't be traded. There's nothing under the sun that can't be traded. It's a horrible reality that we all have to go through. I'm getting tortured here now. Somebody wants me to stop talking. It's a bit late for that. Bit late for that. But yeah, we live in a world of trade, and there's nothing that can't be traded. And unfortunately, that leads to a lot of evil acts, genocide being one of them. But if you reframe it and you think about in terms of profit, then you will realize that genocide is really just another form of asset liquidation. When it's not performing the way it should, you sell it on or you liquidate it so that you can get the money back from it. Yeah, I'm sorry guys, but yeah, I gotta go. And if you're wondering why I have the light on and the blinds drawn, it's because the construction workers have been working on the roof for since about, I think, like 8:30 or something, probably later than that. But they've been working on the roof. I think they have to paint it now because they've been fixing it, but I think they have to paint it as soon as they fixed it as well. Paint the whole roof. So that's why I've got the blinds drawn. And it's not that I haven't opened my blinds and let people see into my flat before, but it's just that there's something about somebody being in close proximity and watching me while I'm working, while they're in close proximity, which is kind of like, nope, I don't want that. Sorry, nope. So I got the blinds drawn. So yeah, but that's it for now. I love you, my fellow TIs. You know what to do. You know what to do. I ain't got to tell you. You're stronger than all the rest of these motherfuckers out here. Stay that way. And even if you don't, you have the right not to. Thank you for being here. Your presence in this world is not only appreciated, but it's necessary. I love you guys. Take care. Bye-bye.